Teresa's son was screaming and crying, making her unbearable. Her mother said that she could give birth to a son, provide for the house, and give her money. Her husband has treated me well, too. Thinking about having to raise this kid for the rest of his life is troublesome. Hearing that, her mother yelled, "Did the world need to know this?" Teresa didn't care anymore, then said she didn't want anyone to know that she bought this baby. Unexpectedly, Ella's father, who was just passing by, also heard this shocking news. In the corridor, the servant's voice sounded. Immediately mother and daughter Teresa pale-faced ran straight out to see. Seeing Ella's father running away, so this secret was known to her father. Teresa frowned. If he heard, there would be a way for the old man to keep his mouth shut. Ella and her husband did return home until late at night. As soon as she entered the door, Grandma smiled happily. "Isn't the party over for a long time? Why not come home soon?" Being teased, Ella blushed and returned to her room. He hugged her tenderly and leaned over her. He was still very hungry, wife. She was almost seduced by his sweet words. The phone suddenly rang, breaking the atmosphere. She just picked up the phone and listened. After that, her eyes widened in surprise. Not understanding that her father was in a car accident, she fainted. When he saw this, he was afraid to run to help her. She whispered to her father, then gradually fell into a coma. She seemed to return to childhood. Her father played with her, she hugged him. "Then you have to take good care of yourself." She was also surprised why her father said that. As soon as she finished her words, her father disappeared. She tried her best to scream, "Daddy, Daddy." When she woke up, everyone in the house was surrounding the hospital bed, excited to sit up. "I've already lost my mother, I can't lose my father." Seeing granddaughter in pain like that, grandparents feel heartbroken. Lucas's face is serious. "Ella, I'm taking you to visit your father, but try your best. Can you keep calm?" Her heart was suddenly scared. She didn't dare to speculate on anything, because she couldn't accept it. When they finally made it to the emergency room, the doctor sighed and shook his head. "Sorry, we tried our best. Ella is like a lost soul." His wife was heartbroken. Fortunately she was treated in time so she could keep the child. He was standing by the bed, not eating, drinking, only praying, hoping she would get well soon. His parents also came. His father put his hand on his shoulder and told him to be Ella's support in the future, to take good care of her. He turned his head to look at his mother, knowing that she had always disliked this daughter-in-law, but still hoped that she could treat her a little better in the future. At this time, she suddenly moved. He was very confused, gently patted her stomach and said that her mother was having a bad time. "I hope you can help her get over it. In the next few months you must be good too." He kissed her forehead, silently praying that it seemed to work. She opened her eyes in panic, only to see her husband sitting in front of the hospital bed remembering her father's death. Accidentally biting her lip, tears welled up in her eyes. He was so scared, he called her name, hugged her tightly, put his hand on her chin and told her not to hurt herself. He lowered his voice. She choked on his shoulder, the one she could rely on, now only him. "I'm sure he'll find the fugitive and make him pay." A few days later, her father's funeral was held simply. Ella is pregnant, so he takes care of the reception. Teresa's grandmother and her mother arrived last, pretending to cry bitterly, with a fake appearance that makes others feel nauseous. Seeing Ella come in, step-grandma revealed her true intentions. "Ella, did your father leave any last words?" Normally, she openly hated her, but now strangely, she replied coldly, "Do not have. She still won't give up, so what about your father's fortune?" She sneered, knowing immediately that she meant nothing, knowing immediately that if she was interested in a property. "The house is already in my name. My father's savings are not much. If you wants, I will give it to you as a reward for her grandmother's gratitude. Your father still has shares in the company, such a large amount. Do you think I am an idiot? I am a stepmother anyway, legally still have the right to inherit." She continued to laugh sarcastically. This was the person she loathed the most. When her father happened, no one noticed until now, and now she wants to divide the property. She immediately turned her face away. "I have to take half of the shares, or we will meet in court." "Are you going to sue to see if you have the courage to take a penny from my hand?" She was extremely angry, not paying attention to this place as the spiritual hall, rushed straight to her and wanted to beat her. Lucas immediately ran over, saying that if you want to make a complaint, you can do it, but don't do it here. He snapped his fingers to see off the guests. A group of black-robed bodyguards arrived. The two of them were afraid to spill their pants. Their mouths were crying. Rest assured Ella, no lawyer dares to speak for them. She grinned. Let them accuse me of wanting her to slap herself in the face in front of the judge to let everyone know their truth. After the visitation, the ashes of her parents were buried together. She removed the strong cover. Emotions surged, whole body trembled. He hugged her in his arms, promising to give her the warmest home. He will do anything to love and protect her, but the term is forever. Her heart is strangely warm, looking at her husband with a slight smile. She must live well. Tired all day, she was about to go to bed early. He brought the relics of his father-in-law from the police, phone and a bunch of keys. She took out the key. This is the present she gave to her father for his birthday. Although very old, but he always carried it with him. The family was always together. The little princess. Her father always loved her the most in this life. Seeing his wife sad, he wiped her tears and went to hug her. His voice was warm. Bring love. In the days to come, I will replace your father, become the most pampered person in the world. Be your knight, protect you forever. She wrapped her arms around his waist sobbing, kissing him, his eyes suddenly red, calmly enthusiastically responding. Then she discovers the call history on her father's phone as very strange incoming calls. Finally a 2-minute call. She frowned slightly. If it wasn't for an acquaintance, he wouldn't have talked for so long. He said, "This phone number the police have checked is a fake number that cannot be traced." After listening to this, she began to think, her father's accident must have been related to this phone number.